Here we go. Put it in gear and go. This is what we're restoring today. Oh, wait. I mean, assembling? A miniature Nissan GT-R R34 RC car. To make this build absolutely perfect, the highly experienced modal expert, our master builder, Shugi, will go beyond standard assembly to add much more detail to this GT-R. For example, he custom dyed the side marker lights. The biggest difference between building and restoring is that restoration follows a fixed process, tearing down and rebuilding. But with building, if you skip the manual, you'll just be winging it. So, what we're working on first is the car's exterior, specifically assembling the body shell. Here, a magnet is the trunk frame. It will pair with another magnet on the door to create a magnetic lock system to keep the doors securely closed. Also, in certain key areas, crossbars are added to this model to improve its structural rigidity. Speaking of structural rigidity, it brings up a difference that many people easily overlook. A real GT-R uses a unibody chassis. This means its roof, A-pillars, C-pillars, and floor pan aren't just an outer shell. They are structural parts of the car. The engine, subframe, and suspension are all mounted and secured directly onto this steel frame. So, for a real vehicle, the body isn't just an outer layer put on at the very end. Quite the opposite. It's one of the most core parts of the car. But the model we're building here is completely different. It's more like a traditional body-on-frame setup. What handles all the torque and stress? Is the metal chassis installed later? Things like the suspension, steering rack, differentials, transmission shaft, and all the rest will later be mounted directly onto that metal chassis. To sum it up simply, wherever the power is transferred, that's naturally where the load goes. This also means the body shell Shugi is assembling is mostly for decoration and realism. And to perfectly recreate this 1999 R34 version of the GT-R, Shugi is replicating the nostalgic feel of that era in many places, like the yellow marker lights we saw earlier, and these repainted interior pieces. Now, this piece is the steering wheel servo. By the way, this servo doesn't actually steer the car itself. It solely turns the steering wheel. So, back to what we just learned. Even if you chopped off the top half of this car, leaving only the chassis, it could still drive around perfectly. Here, he added a UV-protected logo to the steering wheel. Then he can install the entire center console. Next is attaching the rear bumper with the GT-R's iconic 4 round tail into place. Next up are the 2 doors. First, Shugi will install hinges on them to connect them to secure the frame to the chassis. As for the interior door panels, they need to be painted with a vintage blue finish to match the exterior. Also, the window glass installed here can actually roll up and down. You just have to adjust it by hand. And as for the magnet here, its purpose was mentioned earlier. It's used to lock the doors. Next is the trunk lid. With that massive spoiler, its assembly is fairly simple. Aside from tweaking the inner paint, the rest just bolts right on. Of course, Shuge painted all visible black interior parts with a matte black finish for a more retro vibe. The front and rear windshields and wipers are all glued down securely with super glue. As for the front bumper, along with the 4 grille meshes, it has 2 highly detailed fog lights. For the radiator, aside from painting it, he applied a wash to it to bring out its 3D details. Finally, we install the hood. Complete with washer nozzles, the car's exterior body is officially finished. Next up for assembly is the actual steering servo that controls the car. Inside this servo, there is a gear set at the front. When a large gear drives a smaller gear, I'm sure anyone who took middle school physics knows that this increases speed. This means the servo doesn't lack torque. It's designed for faster steering speed. This kind of setup also proves that this GT-R is an RC car built for drifting. Compared to normal driving, drifting requires frequent front-wheel corrections. That's why many drift RCs specifically amplify the servo output even further, making the steering much sharper. Next up is assembling the front suspension. And judging by the upper control arm, we can easily guess that this car uses a double wishbone setup. But based on the current progress, we're only assembling the top half of the suspension now. We'll finish the rest of it later. What's really surprising is that these tiny shocks are hydraulic. After bleeding the oil, we can install these tiny shocks into place. I actually looked it up, and it seems modern all use these kinds of shocks. Oh boy, that's fancier than my e-bike. Here is the car's power core. A Senbai-Tenfu brushless motor. As for the 3652 the first model digits mean its diameter, and the last 2 refer to its length. The larger the motor's size, the more torque it typically has, and the better it cools. The cluster of gears above the motor is undoubtedly the transmission gear set. By changing the gear ratios, you can adjust the output speed and torque. Also, that kV rating on the motor represents the no-load RPM per volt. Higher kV means higher RPM, but lower Conversely, torque. Lower RPM means higher Besides torque. Motors can be in-runners or out-runners. We won't get too deep into that. All you need to know is that most RCs use in-runner motors. Here on the engine housing, there's another tiny servo. Judging from the linkage it connects to, we know it controls the car's transmission gears. Now for this part, I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It's a differential. Its job is to allow the left and right wheels to spin at different speeds, helping the car corner smoothly. This model is just like the real It features R34 independent front and rear differentials. Of course, GT-R fans know Nissan also equipped it with The Atessa ETS Pro AWD system uses an electronically controlled multi-actively split power, front to rear. Functionally speaking, it acts essentially as a centered differential, and this centered differential is crucial for a true full-time AWD system because, as we know, the front and rear discs sync the left and right wheel speeds, while the center diff syncs the front and rear axles. Except here, uses an electronic system instead. That's why many people call the GT-R a triple differential AWD layout. However, on this model car, that electronic diff can't be replicated. But these two cool turbochargers can be added as decorative pieces. Now that the engine is 80% done, it can be mounted onto the chassis. These two custom-painted parts are naturally the air intakes. And right now, the intercooler is going in. After all, this car packs a twin-turbo engine. Once air passes through the turbos, even though the total oxygen increases, the temperature also spikes rapidly. So, engineers added an intercooler here. And now, Shuge is assembling the rest of the suspension, like the axles and steering knuckles. But the most crucial part here is the front steering linkage rod. This connects to the real steering servo we installed earlier. And this real syncs with the dummy servo on the wheel. So they turn together perfectly. The brake components being installed now are actually just decorative too. Unlike mechanical brakes on real cars, the biggest difference is that RC rely models almost entirely on the electronic speed controller, the ESC, for braking. Next up is the rear axle assembly. It also features a differential and double wishbone suspension on both sides. This is the center drive shaft. The engine to send uses power to the rear axle. Now, after installing the custom retro exhaust, WE can the electronic speed controller. We just mentioned this black box with a cooling fan is the powertrain hub of the model. It manages the throttle, power output, reverse, braking functions, and more. But to tell it what to actually do, it has to be paired with a transmitter. And this is a high-end transmitter too. It's like a mini computer. Not only does it display battery and signal, steering and throttle, and braking parameters, it also allows direct adjustments. Once the receiver is connected, you can use the transmitter to send out your commands. Next up is basically Shuge's signature move, laying down a layer of felt carpet on the floor pan. Then he installs the custom-painted seats. Now, can take the entire interior floor and mount it onto the metal chassis. And the gear shifter here is connected to the engine and transmission linkage, which means it will move automatically when shifting gears. Once all four wheels are mounted and the body shell is secured to the chassis, This incredibly detailed and fully drivable GT-R R34 model is officially fully assembled. That's all for today's restoration video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye. And once again, Max's Restoration Zone. Bye-bye.